Hello and welcome to Girls Trip with LaVerne and Steffanie. I'm Stephanie Rivers.
And I'm LaVerne.
So, LaVerne, how's it going in Nashville this week?
Well, it's going good. We got a little rain today, but what can I say? People are getting excited about spring and getting out.
Exactly. Same here in Dallas. And before we get to why we're here today, we just want to acknowledge the shootings and the death and the loved ones of the latest shooting victim, the ones in Boulder, as well as the ones in the Atlanta area. And so we know there's a lot of news going on. So despite that, we want to try to bring out the positive issues that we can always learn from a bad experience.
Yes, I agree.
So we want to bring in our guest. His name is Dwayne Coley Sr. And welcome to the show, Mr. Dwayne.
Hello, ladies. How y'all doing?
All is well. Thanks for being here. So a lot of people, over the past year, as you guys know, a lot of people are talking about health and health care. But it always seems as if the conversation, even though we're talking about health and health care, mental health always seems to get left behind in that conversation if it's brought up at all. So let's talk about, LaVerne, start us off. How do you and Mr. Dwayne know each other?
First of all, let me share this. It's so good to see Dwayne. Dwayne has worked with me with LA Expose Productions and Extraordinary People Awards for a number of years now. We started LA Expose in 2011, and we started the awards, 6 years ago. And his testimony, him walking the walk and talking the talk, is what he does. He's an author, he's a caterer, he's a performer, he sings. He is multi-talented. But Dwayne went through an experience that only he can tell of how he overcame a serious situation mentally, emotionally, physically. And I'm going to let him share his testimony, but it has been an inspiration to me. It has encouraged me so much, and now I'm getting to see him encourage other people. He wrote a nice paper, kind of like it's enough for a blog, about what he went through and what he experienced, and I'm going to let him tell his story.
So I was in the military in 1984. This is how everything started. And, sometimes we don't realize that we're conditioned for the condition. But I was in the United States Marine Corps in 1984. And I was unfortunately involved in bullying from a staff sergeant. I was young. I was about 18 years old when I first got out of high school and went to El Toro, California, where I was stationed. And I had a staff sergeant that joined my unit, and he began to harass me and bully me to the point to where I broke down mentally. And because I was over 3,000 miles away from my family, I didn't know anyone really there but my Marine Corps brothers and sisters. I shut down. I was recently married at the time. I didn't tell my wife. I just shut down and began to really go through some very deep, dark moments of being a young Marine. And when I finally did get to a place on one particular instance within in my unit of him just abusing me, that I felt at that point that I wanted to either end my life or his. So that particular night, my wife at the time drove out to the base, and one of my Marine brothers led on base, and they came to my unit and found me just in a daze. I was, it was probably about almost 11 o'clock that night. And it was at that time that I finally opened up and told them what was going on. And as I sought help, rather than the military helping me, they kicked me out of the Marine Corps. And so for about 34 years, I carried the stigma of being discharged from Marine Corps. Although it was honorable, the discharge that they put me out on was personality disorder. And I knew that I had never had any type of personality disorder as a child or in my adolescent years of any kind, but that was a stigma that was placed on me. But I knew, based on my spiritual walk and based on everything that was within me, that it just wasn't right. But I knew that in everything, God wasn't through with me. So in about 2017, after working for JP Morgan Chase Bank for 10 years as an underwriter, I was laid off. And this was a time when things really hit rock bottom for me. And so after being laid off in December of 2018, December 31st, I became homeless. And it was during that time, and I had been serving as the executive director for Extraordinary People Awards for about 2 years at that time, or 2 or 3 years. And so January of 2019 is when everything began just to crumble. And then I found myself in March of 2015 being Baker acted and on the 3rd floor of the Veterans Memorial Hospital in Gainesville with suicidal thoughts. And so at that time, God began to really deal with me and work with me because, I'm in a place now of, I'm on the floor with people that are, with drug addictions and all kind of different things. And I'm like, Lord, what am I supposed to do? What's going on? I'm broken. And so, but it was then that I started to experience God for the first time in my life. And
so, Mr. Dwayne,
mm-hmm.
let me don't want to interrupt your story, but we want to, before we get too far into it. So
Mm-hmm.
you said that you started to experience a lot of the bullying in the military. Is this something that you, since you're 30 years removed from it, were there a lot of people, a lot of other enlisted people? Was this a common occurrence of bullying by superiors? Do you think it was an isolated incident for you? Because you then said that they honorably discharged you with personality disorder. So at some point you told somebody and then they did some type of therapy maybe, or so just take us back to how that progressed for them to then say on your paperwork, personality disorder. What was the help that you saw and got for the bullying issue?
Well, what happened was when I did report it, it was documented that I complained about my unit and what happened. So that was documented. What the military did was try to cover that up and use personality disorder. So 34 years later, when I went through when I got Baker acted, and then I was able to then file a claim through benefits through VA. It uncovered that it was uncovered that it was a wrongful discharge. So because of that, in my research, I learned that in 2008, Congress had passed, had actually called the military to the Senate because it was uncovered that thousands of veterans were wrongfully discharged for the same thing. And because of that, I was awarded 100% veterans benefit. And now I will forever be compensated for the rest of my life. Military benefits that otherwise I was wrongfully, discharged from. And so because of that, now many veterans that were wrongfully, discharged for that same thing are now being compensated for that very thing. So what was meant for my bad 34 years later, which is ironically 7, God turned around for good. And so not only that, it also positioned me to receive my Social Security disability at 100%. And so now I never have to worry about where I'm asleep. I didn't have to worry about how I'm gonna eat. Not only did God give me double for my trouble, but then he positioned me to qualify for a $429,000 home. And I am fully retired. I got my dream automobile. And so when I look at the struggle and I look at, a time when I was so broken I couldn't even afford some water. But then I look at the people that were placed in my life, like Dr. LaVerne, who never gave up on me when I was, in a homeless shelter, and just the whole process that I went through, and then to be able to be put in that position. In Jeremiah 29:11, it says, "For I know the thoughts and the plans that I have for you." And so when even though I didn't realize what God was doing, he was positioning me so that those things that were taken away in the military could be now set me up so I can be blessed for the rest of my life. And so now, as I look back at it, it was hard, but I don't have to worry about anything else for the rest of my life.
So I want to do, and LaVerne, I know you have some questions.
Yeah, I have one.
Mr. Dwayne. But what I want to do is, because Mr. Dwayne, you mentioned the Baker Act. So that is it says the health law represents individuals and families in challenges and hearings related to the Baker Act. Apparently is a Florida, or started out that way, in the Florida legislature, to help people who feel like the Baker Act is a state law that allows for the involuntary and voluntary placement of an individual in a psychiatric facility for observation. So you apparently were having the issues because of the bullying, and then I guess that's, with, it seems to me with each segment of society and the system that is built to mislabel issues and make some people who are bullied or discriminated against, there's always something that's going on. If it's in the criminal justice system, it's, certain judges or certain laws. If it's in the military, it's certain things they put on your paperwork to make you look different than how it really was.
Exactly.
If it's, school, if it's, at the schoolhouse, it's something else that they claim that's going on. So this, so I want to put in here, if you have been discriminated against, maybe the Baker Act can maybe, the Baker Act can possibly help you to get justification, the means and the money. So just wanted to throw that out there, the Baker Act. Okay, LaVerne?
Okay, Dwayne, what was the point? Of course, I can kind of almost remember, but what was the point, the lowest point when you were in the facility that you felt like it's nothing but me and God? Like what was it? What can you define when you knew I had no choice but to trust God?
I think for me, when when I started sleeping in my brother's old truck, and and then I ended up being in the homeless shelter, and then I was around others that were in there with drug addictions and alcohol addictions and different things, and being around people that were dealing with other things other than mental illness. I think for me, that broke that pride thing that I was dealing with. And that was the way that God had to deal with me with my pride. And, once he dealt with that pride thing, then I think that was the beginning of my healing process. Because now there was nothing that was keep me from moving forward with what God had for me. And also it established a testimony in my music ministry, so that I'm not, I no longer, it's no longer about, it decreased me and increased him in me to be able to do my music ministry, to allow people to understand no matter where you're at, or how broken you are, or what you may have lost, or what you're going through, that God is able. And, you know, I don't have to tell somebody about something I heard. I can actually tell you about something I went through. I can tell you about everything I lost. And it's not about God being a genie. That's not what it's about, but it's about God being able. And it's about, if you can, you know, adapt a relationship that God is so personal that you understand what it feels like, and you know what it means to prosper and know that God is able. And so, you know, that's the
It's powerful. It's
it's,
powerful.
you know,
Amen.
let me just say this. As a man, a lot of men don't cry. A lot of men won't shed tears. A lot of men won't show emotion because of that pride thing. But I'm gonna tell you, man, I cried. Jesus. I remember ministering one particular evening and song, and I just broke down like a baby. And then when I looked up, most of the people in the congregation were crying because the Holy Spirit just came through. And, you know, even as I talk now, I'm getting full because when I look back at, December 31st of 2018, I gave away everything that I had. I didn't sell it. The Spirit said, give it away, because surely, you know, you look at the Bible, I think it was a rich man that had everything. He would say, you know, he couldn't give it away because he couldn't let go of his possessions. But I gave away everything. I look around at this place and what God has me now, Jesus. That's all I can say. But it's not about the materialistic thing. It's about the God that we serve. He wants us to prosper, but he also wants us to understand that he's God. And so I am so, I think a couple of nights ago, I had my first band rehearsal with my gospel group in 2 years. And we're back out now doing music ministry. And I'm so happy. I'm ready to go across the globe and talk about the goodness of Jesus in this pandemic era, because so many people are hurting. So many people are broken. So many people are lost. So many people are struggling, but God is still here. He's
Let me ask
watching.
you a mental illness question, in the sense of, why do you think some people surrender to mental illness versus fight it like you did?
Well, understand, I did surrender. You know, I was broken. I surrendered. Remember, I was at the brink of wanting suicide. You know, I was in the truck getting ready to commit suicide. I had a plan, but God had a greater purpose. And so the night that I wanted to do the suicide, I found myself somehow at VA hospital. And as soon as I mentioned suicide, they stripped me of everything but my boxers, you know, and I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. So what we have to understand as believers is that even the disciples were with Jesus and they still got weary. They were right with Jesus. So who am I?
Absolutely.
I mean, so the enemy will always make us feel like, you know, we are nothing. And so when mental illness is real. I mean, hey,
Yes, it is.
it is real, but mental illness you can overcome it. You know, we can overcome it through the blood of Jesus and by his grace and his mercy alone. We can overcome it. So, but the thing about it is, people are so ashamed to tell somebody about it because we're going to be judged, you know. So, but I'm here because I'm a witness that I went through it. I'm very transparent about it. I don't care what you say about me. I'm going to tell you, yeah, I was going to commit suicide, but I didn't. And I'm telling you now that you can, if you're in that predicament, in that position in your mind, God is greater. You know,
Amen.
he's great. I'm here. And like I said, you know, his power alone is just it's just elevated me just to go out and tell his people that he's the time is now. You know, the time is now to trust God and to prosper. And
Well, I know you have a feeding project that you have just birthed it. When is the next time you guys are planning to do it, so that Stephanie and I both can share the next time, so maybe we can help you get donations and or sponsor of something? Share.
well, next Saturday, the 3rd of April, is our second feeding. We're trying to do 200 care bags for the homeless here in Jacksonville. The first one we did was Christmas. It was outstanding. We actually did since I do have catering in my background, we set up a whole like a catering buffet style for the people. It was beautiful. And so this time we're going to do 200 care bags on the 3rd of April. I think that's the day before Easter, which I call it Resurrection Sunday. But we're going to do 200 care bags and pass them out to the less fortunate here in Jacksonville. And so we're gathering all the things that we're going to need, and we're getting donations through Cash Apps, and people bringing, water and juices and things like that. And we're doing different types of hygiene things and masks and, things like that, blankets and, things like that they can use, snacks and sandwiches and stuff like that. Okay. So it's a real big, we're going to actually come to my apartment and put everything together that night before, and then get up that Saturday morning and go out and bless the people. So, well,
I'm definitely try to get you some things to help out. Man, this is so good, Dwayne. A lot of people don't know the best way to excel is to give.
Amen.
When you give, it's got to come back to you. That is just the law of the universe, and a lot of people don't know that.
So true. And I try to tell people that, there's whatever you do in secret, God rewards you openly. I promise you. I can give you testimony of how I've seen people, whether they, matter of fact, I was driving down the expressway and I got off on the exit, and a young lady was walking with a gas can. It was me and my granddaughter. So I turned around, picked her up, went and got some gas, put it in her car, followed to the gas station, filled the tank up, went in the ATM machine, gave her $100 and left. I've done acts like that countless time, and God has blessed me every time abundantly. It's just how He moves, and so I tell people, if you have a giving heart, there's no reason I'm supposed to be sitting here with no job with a $429,000 home. There's only God can do that.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Now I do. Mr. Coley, let me ask you a question about why, because a lot of people, when we graduate from high school, most people either go to college or they get a job or they go to the military. What was your initial reason for going to the military? One, and two, when you look at the recent events with, let's say, the insurrection, and you find out that a lot of people that were at the insurrection, committing the crimes and all that, were either trained by police or by the military. Was that surprising to you? So the first question, what initially made you seek out the military? What training did you think you were going to get? And two, were you surprised at the amount of the divisions that we now see are in our police force and the military?
One of the reasons I really went to the military was, for one, I was athletic, so I could have actually played football. My brother actually went to school, and I decided to go to the Marine Corps, and I wanted to pursue, I could get my schooling as well. And also because I was into music, I wanted to pursue music and the military. Now, when I look back at the recent events, the reason why I feel like that was predominantly done like it was because of who we had in the administration, who we had as a leader. And I feel like, I really feel like, we just have to be honest with where this world is today and where it was prior to Biden coming into office. It's to me, it's ironic that insurrection happened, and those same people that had their belief system, when that $1,400 came out, I didn't see any. I don't think any of them returned it. So it's like a double standard. You feel one way when one person is in office, but when you got that $1,400, you felt another way. So this country is we're living in a time where it's just crazy. I never would have thought that people serving that's supposed to serve and protect this country would be the very ones that's tearing it down. That's crazy. It makes no, that just made no sense to me. It just makes no earthly sense that you got military people, policemen, all these trained people to serve and protect are the ones that's actually tearing down the country.
So then it seems like things have come full circle for you, and I want to commend you for being strong enough to make it through, because as LaVerne has said, and you said, you succumb to, you in the middle of something and you don't see your way through, or you think this is the end of it, or I can't make it any further, and you end up changing your life or committing suicide or doing something to hurt other people. When if you just look to God and keep it moving, you can make it through. And you have mentioned that you have a gospel group. What's the name of it? Do you guys have any music coming out? How can we contact you about the event that you have coming up in Jacksonville, Florida?
The name of the group is called Dwayne Coley and True Ministry. We definitely have videos out on YouTube. One of my videos, what is it? Actually, we got several, but one, I'm trying to think of the name of the one that My Son Died for You. That is probably, that message in that song is very powerful. But
is that the one that you have like a mini film about?
That's My Son Died for You.
Yeah, yes. I remember it. It's so good. Yeah.
Very powerful video. And so you can definitely find our music there. But what I'm praying for is that we are trying to link with a record label, Debt Not On Your Records. It's actually Anointed spelled backwards. And I'm believing God that will launch this year, and then we'll be able to travel and present the music under the leadership of Debt Not On Your Records. And that is Andrew Wan's label here, and he's out of Fleming Island, Florida, and we'll sign under his label and bless the people under his leadership.
So is there an email address or website? And if it's something spelled backwards, I'm still need you to spell it, because I make sure I spell it right.
Give them the phone number for bookings, Dwayne.
So the phone number is 904-312-7445. And the web address is www.talkingitout.info. And Debt Not On You is, DET. It's Anointed spelled backwards. So
see, you can't even see.
Let me see. I have to do it. Let me
Anointed.com, so not backwards.com.
No, that's the name of the label, Debt Not On You Records.
That on you.
Okay, so you about to give me the web address?
No, the web address is www.talkingitout.info.
Okay, that's what I just put in, and I put for bookings 904-312-7445.
Right.
Okay, so we can go with that. And then also, now what is the Anointed spelled backwards? What's that about?
That's the record label.
Okay, so if you want to find out more about the record label to which Dwayne's gospel group, which is Dwayne Coley and the Truth, they are signed to, it's Anointed spelled backwards.
It's DET NIONNA. So it's DET
right,
NIONNA, and it's Dwayne Coley and True Ministry. It's Dwayne.
Yeah, I got it in there.
Yes, Dwayne without the E. Yeah. Okay. But yeah.
All righty. So where do you see yourself? What would be because we know you only got a few more minutes. What would be your advice to others going through what you have been through?
You know, very simple, 2 words, but God.
Yes.
But God. That's it.
So just to stay steadfast. You know, that was one of the subjects that LaVerne and I had talked about on the show the other day. Is how is it? You know, it's hard enough to reach out to people going through issues without COVID restrictions, but now it's harder to reach out to people in light of COVID restrictions. And it's sometimes, you know, if you seek it out, like most churches or most civic organizations have some type of online presence, online meetings, whether it's Bible study, whether it's Zoom calls or church Zoom calls or what have you. So if you want to see yourself through it, there's a way to make it happen. Just don't give up and feel like you're on your own. You gotta reach out, and even if it's you might not have internet or Wi-Fi at your house, but you certainly maybe got, you know, phone, you got what's that called? FaceTime or something. You can make it happen now if you want.
Yeah, they have an 800 line now you can call as well, because everybody don't know Jesus, but I'm telling you, you got to find a way, and that's our best way.
Exactly. Well, Mr. Coley, in Jacksonville, is there anything else you want to share with us that we didn't ask you?
Well, I just want to say, you know, thank you very much for the platform. I'm truly humbled and honored, and I just want to say to the people, you know, no matter what you're going through, God is able to see you through. That's actually one of the songs that I minister in anywhere we go. That's probably the song that I close out on as I give my testimony. God will see me through, because that's the song that God gave me when I was broken. I mean, I'm talking about when my tears became my food. And so I know that he's able. So just hold on. Just go through so you can get to what God has for you, please.
Amen.
Amen. All righty, sir. Well, we appreciate your time and
Thank you.
and your ministry. And keep us posted. Like LaVerne said, we'll be sure to do what we can to get the word out. And then I'll put your contact information in there, and especially the Baker Act. There are lots of programs out there for people, and if we just look for it, you know, if we quit watching all these shows and stuff that have no value for us mentally and internally, and start looking for things that have value, there's plenty of time to
see, let me share this. It's something I thought about. You have to really become an advocate for yourself, because I can remember there was a time I really was working to help Dwayne, and every door they wanted to talk to him. They wanted his voice, you know. So if a person take action, they will get some results.
Amen.
And he
exactly.
did. He did. I'm so proud of him.
We talked about that too. Being an advocate for yourself, asking questions, and because most definitely, because the same way, you know, they throwing out this money, and then you know they got the money now, and they building the programs, but for some reason, and we can all speculate as to why, they only want certain people to know about certain things, and they want only certain people to get the money. You know, so, but we all are tax-paying citizens, and we all qualify for that money at some point if it applies to you. But you have to advocate for yourself and go get it.
Amen.
Yes.
All righty, sir. So we again thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. See you.
All right. So that was awesome, LaVerne. So what are we working on for next week, if anything?
Well, let's see. We have possibly, now it ain't confirmed yet, another chef. But
another chef, okay.
But then you brought up the name of someone else too. That's a doctor, but the timing for me at this point is not convenient. But you need to run the show, because sometimes you have to, certain people, you have to go with their schedule, and it might not be, good for me or you. And then when our third host join us, you'll have, more than one person that may be available, should I say it.
Right. I'm working on one of my high school classmates, as a matter of fact. She, we talk about women in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM programs. And Michelle Foster is her name. We're Facebook friends, and we went to high school together so very long ago. But she always has been one of the smartest people I've ever known. And just after graduation, she went to UT, the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. And I think she went to grad school there too. Anyway, she now works in a nuclear facility or something like that. So she is going to come talk to us about her path and getting there, and what that entails, and just to encourage other women interested in STEM industries about how they can excel in their chosen field. So we're going to talk to her. And then there's another one of I was surrounded by smart women in high school.
Very good. That's why you're smart.
She is a pharmacist and a biochemist. And so we're going to talk to her. So we will line them up, and because we want, our goal with our show, Girls Trip, is to just highlight things that we care about, that's important to us, and that we feel like can enrich people in our communities. And so that's something we want to do.
All right, sound great.
So I am going to try to end the show with our show open. I'm going to try to, work it out where we start, we book ended. We're going to start with some music and fun and end with some music and fun. So Let's see if we can get this going. So let me see. All right, LaVerne, we'll talk to you later.
All righty, bye-bye.